Are you the person that only uses your journal to write your emotions, take your notes down, and write those random ideas that come in, and nothing ever changes? You never actually implement it? You feel better for a moment, but the rest of your week is still in chaos. It feels literally still out of control. Here's the difference: journaling is more than just writing, it should be your decision making system. So, today I'll show you the 5 steps to turn your journal into actions so your pages actually move you forward. My name is Angie. I'm your favorite journaling mentor. And one of the biggest things that changed for me and helped me move forward was when I started using my journal like a boardroom and not just a diary. Your diary, it actually records your past, but your boardroom makes your future decisions. And that's why we're here. So, are you really ready to turn your journal slash diary into an action taking boardroom? Let's jump in. So, the first step is actually doing a brain dump. It's taking the things that have been cluttered in your mind, right? You kind of got yesterday's problems and tomorrow's problems all in one place, right? And so this allows you to put both entities on the paper. Remember, we're not crying about the problems or the things or the people that we have to solve. We're actually dumping them out. We're just writing it out, we're leaving it alone, and we're going to come back to it. Being in the military for over 10 and a half years, this was one of my ways when I was in charge and I couldn't function. Like sometimes I would have night shifts and my brain would just be like all over the place, right? But I needed to focus because I had to instruct other individuals. Dumping, even taking 5 minutes, relieve that stress so I could focus back on what I was doing. So this is something that I'm not just preaching about. I've actually applied to my life over and over again. So now that we've dumped everything, the second part of this is actually writing out what matters. Circling, crossing out, highlighting, whatever it is, you need to sort out what's the top important tasks that need to be done. What needs to be accomplished in the next 48 hours. And whatever doesn't need to be done in the next 48 hours can go on another piece of paper. But our most important thing would be what needs to be done now. Most people lead a dump and then they expect to kind of sort itself out. That's not how this works. You actually have to prioritize what's the most important because that's where those CEO and those boss decisions come into place. Step 3 is all about boundaries. In step 1, we wrote out our list. We brain dumped. In step 2, we wrote out what was important to us, what was our top priorities. In step 3, it is who needs to do this work, not me. Sometimes we take on these enormous tasks and we just say yes to everybody, right? And you actually need to say no. You need to delegate it or take it off your plate altogether. And in this prompt, I want you to write out what actions are for you and what actions need to be delegated to somebody else. It shouldn't be on your plate. It needs to be assigned to somebody else. So in step 4, it's all about setting up your life like a CEO, right? You've done the dump list. You're no longer using your journal as a diary, but a boardroom. And the fourth step would be what needs to be put on the calendar. From the dump list, there are items that needed to be delegated. There's items that needed to be done real quick. And this time we're focusing on what actually needs to be put on the calendar for a later date. It doesn't need to keep floating around in your head as a to-do list, but put it on the calendar and commit to it. So in section number 5, it's progress. You look at it in a week's time and figure out what works. You don't keep going for another month, and then we kind of think it works. We actually do real life check ins. And so when I say check ins, you're going to go over the dump list. You're probably going to make one once a week. And you really need to know what needed to stay and what did. And the more that you practice this and you put this into place, you turning your actual journal into a boardroom every single time. It's going to get better and better the more you do it. And the reason I know that the consistency side of doing these weekly check-ins work is because I've used it. And not just like used it, but I've gone through journals from years ago and I can see the patterns of what worked, what didn't work, and what I kept complaining about. Like, have you ever wrote something out and you look back and you're like, dang, it's a year and I'm still complaining about the same thing? That's because you had no action to actually getting the problem resolved. You didn't delegate it. You didn't completely take it off your plate. You just kind of like let it linger and it's just festering as a problem that is quote unquote part of your life now. Now we get to decide what gets to stay and what doesn't. So I'm hoping that those 5 steps that you're able to implement and start running your life like a real CEO. And with that being said, if you need help and you like, Angie, I can't do this. You told me to write my journal like a boardroom and all I do is complain, truth be told. Guess what? You can join my group. The link is down below and I'll be waiting for you with open arms and a journal.